If you're into photography, whether you're squirreling away on personal projects or delivering images to the biggest brands on the planet, then you've probably heard about rapid eye film processing and darkroom labs in London's creative hub of Shoreditch. And you've probably also spent some time in its sister business, the Photobook Cafe. Both are just a film canister's throw away from each other and pretty much on the doorstep of creative blood. I'm always fascinated by creative businesses making an impact, so I've decided to take us on location and spend the afternoon with the man who started them both, Lee Williams.
Hello.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Good day.
Yeah, good.
Are you hungry?
Lee, alongside two total powerhouse women, his wife Shebby and their business partner for the Photobook Cafe, Farika, has built a real living, breathing, working community here.
Lee, talk me through what's going on. We're up at the counter. What have we got here? We've obviously got a sign saying photography magazines, but who's in here? Give us a bit of a rundown.
Well, to be honest, I mean, I don't really know.
Great start.
We have like about maybe 5 books a week being donated.
Amazing.
And the idea is that this is a real live collection of books that are donated to the cafe.
Yeah.
So,
What's the bar? What's the criteria?
well, generally self-publishing.
Yeah.
People who we try and support more self-publishing, people on smaller budgets to get their book seen or promoted originally. But also we work with small publishing companies as well who can drop stuff in collections and stuff.
Yeah.
But that archive online's only got about 500 books. But
Yeah.
in reality, there's more like about 1,000 here.
Were you hearing from artists sort of saying, like, we need somewhere like this?
Well, yeah,
That's something
yeah,
that must have been a conversation
all of
in
these
advance.
ideas
Yeah.
are purely from clients.
Amazing.
And that's what happened. They kept giving us books and leaving them in the darkroom for other photographers to see.
Right.
Which is quite interesting because, you know, they're bringing in their personal work for their competition.
Yeah.
But then there wasn't competition because those people were all working in fashion. So that was competition when they were in the fashion shops. But their personal work was just inspiration and they wanted to show people what they're doing and with their time outside. Then I thought, okay, hang on, oh my God, why don't we have a library?
Yeah.
What was the mission for you for the photo books? I remember you saying there was a specific reason behind it as well.
Well, when I looked into it, there's not many collections out there, specifically photo books, where you can just walk in and look without being part of a society or part of a bigger thing, or you can only go on a Monday afternoon at a certain time, as long as you write a letter. You know, it's all like that. So it's like hard. It's hard to go in and browse willy-nilly in your own free time. I just thought, for fun, let's try and make it the biggest collection of open access book library in photo books. It's not hard to do that because there ain't many. There's that in Britain, because there's some in Europe that are really big.
Yeah.
So it was just a bit of fun to say that, really. It wasn't really a goal. It kind of is a goal, isn't a goal. I don't know. Why not? Let's make it a goal.
Well, it's happening.
Well, it's happening.
I think it's really important to have a mission or just like a momentum behind something, because it's like that sort of movement tends to create something that's much bigger than what you could have imagined. But you have to also have the imagination that it can become something. What were the first 50 books? Did they already exist from your collection at Rapid Eye?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why we built the shelves over there, is because we just run out of space.
Okay, very practical. Okay.
There's not many people that work in high-end photography that don't do anything else apart from commercial work.
Yep.
Most of the best are doing personal projects.
That's right. Yeah. But, you know, I would say we know that to be true because we're working in that world with those people. But I think it's quite it's a less spoken about part of how you actually become able to make a living as a photographer, for example. People tend to believe that it's much more about the commercial work that's finding you the next commercial job, but actually a lot of the time it's the personal work that's providing the inspiration, for example, for clients or collaborators at large.
Your personal work's pioneering the next batch of photography
that's
coming out, and you know, if you're inspired to chase and copy commercial work now, then
It's already out of
moving,
date.
it's
Yeah,
moving.
of course.
To me, each one is like a massive portfolio. So
Yeah.
you could spend a whole day just on one book quite easily.
And these aren't for sale, right?
No, well, some of these books are priceless as well. You know,
Yeah, of
some of them are quite expensive really to buy. I mean, Stephen Gill's been really cool. He used to work with us back in I would say, the 90s. And he was penniless, but he used to cycle around and beg for film off some other people who were, you know, and also try and get us to print as cheaply as possible. But he's brilliant. He used to thank the printers by giving them a print, you know, and some of those prints are now worth quite a bit of money. So supporting wasn't about the money, it was about the energy. But I've got a collection of his books now, and he's highly collectible and quite bloody famous. And he's very good. Yeah.
Do you like that sort of mixed media, the idea of like print and collage and...
Yeah, my background's very much documentary, kind of street photography and environmental portraiture and things like that. So a lot more gritty than the commercial world I'm in, but you got to pay the bills, you know.
It's a blend. It's that like classic blend of, you know, between art and commerce.
And that's what this place is sticking up for as well. Is that it really helps photographers to hold themselves together creatively with no boundaries. You do a job in photography. There's how many people's involved in the team, you know. And photographers kind of like to be, you know, shake it off and just do their own thing. And so these books are more like that. Some of them is team player work, but a lot of the stuff I find, they're just doing it just to shake off that commercial world and of self-expression. And just do things the way they want to do them themselves, and that's what comes through.
Do you know that the Evening Standard, you know, they describe the Photobook Cafe as reminiscent of the slightly womb-like nature of a photography darkroom?
Yeah.
Was that deliberate then?
Yeah. That's why the walls are black. Yeah, we use the same greys in the dark rooms. I was going to have some red lights in the windows when it was closed, but I didn't get around to that.
Other things going on.
Yeah. What's really cool as well, the exhibition space downstairs it's not like posh. It's kind of quite easy to hang an exhibition with tape if you want and get away with it. It's not, no one's going to bother you. You can also use expensive frames if you want, but there's no need. Which means you can hang an exhibition in a few hours, celebrate it for one evening and then take it down and go. You don't have to like pay a fortune. I remember when I was come up with a business plan of this space, and I was reading into like third spaces and about how everyone, especially freelancers, need a third space. You know, you've got whether it's the gym, so for some people, or a cafe like this, where you can come and like look at books. You know, you need that space before going home or before going to work. You've got a second home, something like that. And I think that's what I wanted this space to be, like a bit of inspiration, really. Because what I've realised, what I do quite well is create spaces. So, and they're usually spaces for photographers to use, whether they're dark rooms or a place like this.
I hope you don't mind me interjecting here for a second. We've been squirreling away on something special, like really special. It's our new audio-visual series of shorts called Talking Pictures, where you'll find visual artists sharing their rare and raw untold stories from behind the lens.
I saw these cowboys from across the field, and
I had not shot an image that I loved after becoming a dad summer 2021.
With each episode less than a minute long, it's about connecting artistry and heart to encourage a pause.
The chip siding and the cracks in the cement are a lot like the wrinkles on my mom's face.
We hope you love it as much as we do.
Talking pictures.
Okay, let's get back to the episode. With our coffees in hand, Lee and I leave the buzzing, warm, dark space of the Photobook Cafe out onto the cobbles of Leonard Street and walk the 25 metres to number 79, which is where rapid eye processing and darkrooms are and have been since 1996.
Yeah, exactly.
We go through the doors.
Whoops. Into reception.
Meet and greet people, take on jobs.
And then the shop.
Sell films, consumables, lead bags, things like that.
To the back of house, where we meet Lee's wife, Shebby, who's the business brains of this operation.
Hello. How are you? Give you a big hug.
And then we head right through the heart of the lab.
Second floor down is darkroom rental. Various different enlargers where
It's busy.
you can analyse your prints and keep working. It's a nice little community style. It's great to watch. And then we have a massive air compressing. We do workshops.
Past the processing labs.
Scanning booths where you can digitise your prints. We have the scanning girls who do the road scanning, nitrogen through
Up
tanks,
some
sometimes
stairs.
scanning boys, 70 air guns, a lab tech, project room.
Before we get settled down for a proper, quieter chat.
And that's it.
Okay, so we're obviously sitting having this chat here on the mezzanine floor, but we're, walking past all these areas where lots of stuff's happening, and there's, a photographer working on a Vogue cover,
Yeah, that happens every day.
Yeah, of course. And the thing is, for you, you're seeing it all day, every day.
Oh my
You're a
God, you
part of
wouldn't
that.
batter an eyelid. Yeah. I mean, from someone working on a Vogue cover to somebody working on a personal project, the quality of the work is unbelievable,
If you can just give us a bit of a rundown of what is going on around us.
So at the top floor, where I began back in 96 here, that floor was given over to some of our biggest photographers we work with, and we turned it into like a 24/7 darkroom rental. Do you want me to run off who's in there?
Yeah, go for
Yeah.
it. Love to.
Okay, there's Laura Colston, who's a fashion photographer.
Yep.
Eddie Ray,
Yep.
who's a travel fashion photographer. Larissa Hoffman, who's another fashion photographer. Jamie Hawksworth, who's a fashion photographer. And Felicity Ingram, who's fashion beauty photographer.
Fantastic.
So they have the top floor. They all get on really well. They have to get on really well because it's quite open plan.
From my experience in relation to Creative Blood, we speak to photographers all the time. They come in, they're saying, we're just going to Rapid Eye, we're going to go and develop our film, they're spending the day. It's something that I know that photographers are very proud of when they're coming to spend time here, and they're very sort of open about wanting to share that as well. And then obviously you've got Photobook Cafe. It's where we have meetings where people come and chat. It's the most amazing environment, but it's also a very inspiring environment. And to strike that balance, I think, is really special. These environments are always an incredible representation of inside the mind of the person who sort of imagined them
Yeah.
to begin with, yeah? So that's
with
you.
Yeah.
That's all things you. So just to give us a bit more of a sense of who you are and where this all came from, where did you grow up?
I grew up in a place called Birch Grove, which is just within Swansea, but very close to Neath in South Wales.
Okay.
On a council estate, single parent family. I had a stint in South Africa with my original dad and my mum, brother and sister, but that failed, and my mum flew us all home, where we grew up on a council estate in Birch Grove.
Amazing. How old were you when you came back?
I don't know, maybe 2, something
Okay.
like that.
So
Very
early
young.
days.
Yeah.
When did photography enter your world?
I think I must have been about 12 when I got my first Polaroid camera, but I think that's not abnormal for a kid to get. A year later, I got my first OM10. I remember shooting with it, and then on Christmas Day with a flash and everything. I don't know what I was doing. I opened the thing up. There's no film in it, so I got off to a good start. But I remember being really keen. I just love art, so we were quite proactive with a lot of stuff and very much left alone to do whatever inspired us. My mum was very supportive to help. My brother was really into technology and electronic mechanics. So our bedroom was always full of stuff. We had like propagators on the windowsill. He had circuit boards that he was working with. And then eventually I built this darkroom and self-taught through magazines like Practical Photographer, Amateur Photographer, all of those. Photography was very cool at the time, the 80s. David Bailey was on adverts on TV, all that. Very charming, very cool. Cameras, like, sexy. So it's a kind of obvious hobby as a kid to go and have that sort of thing.
Did anyone ever compliment you on the way for your pictures.
Yeah, my art teacher in college, in school, we had a little darkroom in the school. I was the only one that used it. But he said, some of the work, it was really good. For my age, I was like processing prints and stuff, so I was learning quick. And then as I kind of went to normal college, I dropped out, actually, because where I lived was an hour bus ride away, and I just couldn't cope with it. So I took a year out, worked in the hotel my mum was working in, did laundry, dishwasher, saved up small money, bought some new kit, got a driving licence, drove to college the next time, and I was much better.
Amazing. Very self-motivated.
Yeah. Well, not just me, like all my mates as well. Everyone was like working to afford film, and everyone was driving to get to locations and take pictures, even at 18.
And then you went to Bournemouth.
Well, apparently Bournemouth was the best college. So I applied to Bournemouth because it was the best. I shouldn't really have gone there, really. I should have gone to Newport, which is a bit more documentary. But the good thing about the Bournemouth thing is they had better colour facilities. I'd have followed down the wrong path if I'd gone there. Bournemouth was like full of people like Wolfgang Tillsmans, and he was in the year above, and it was like a bit more whoa, out, and there was more modern work coming out, and stuff I'd never seen, at that age, all doing like wacky colour stuff, and wasn't gritty.
Yeah.
People were smiling and stuff.
But do you prefer the grit even now?
No, I see it as old school, and it doesn't really document the world as it is, to be honest with you. And then and when you see sort of Nick Waplington's work in those days, and people like Martin Parr, even though I didn't like Martin Parr's work at the time, I was fascinated by it, because Martin Parr is quite upper class, and he's photographing sort of poorer people, so it seemed like he was taking the piss, but he wasn't really. He's just photographing people in their past times, and that concept was great and new to what documentary photography was about in the old days, about photographing war, photographing people dying, photographing people really pissed off.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there were people like being photographed on holidays. Stephen Shaw's work, the Americans, all that American work, fascinating. And it's like, wow, this is brilliant. You can actually enjoy yourself. You can actually go and photograph people having picnics,
being happy. Yeah.
So that was a brilliant learning curve for me, coming, mixing all those photographers and learning about times changing and this and that, and then and how big photography is. It's huge. It's huge.
When you started Rapid Eye, what did you start with?
I was born into quite a poor background, so first of all, I had no money when I came to London. I came with a group of mates from college, like everybody else used to do. And I was young. I was only about 20 at the time. My plan was to come to London, get a job in a cocktail bar. I didn't really want to do anything apart from that, because I'd been studying a bit, and I just thought, fuck this, I'm gonna have a bit of a break. So I just went cocktail bar. When I started to think, maybe I should carry on my career in photography, my hobby, I was shocked in London that there was no facilities where I could just go and rent a kit, rent a darkroom. Because in college, that's all you learned. And all the beauty of making an image, for me, in photography, is not just the camera and taking the pictures, the darkroom side of it, and having all that chemical and rooms where you can kind of mould the image in the way you want it to. There's so much you can do in the darkroom. Not compared these days with computers, what you can do, but you can mould an image massively just in crafting, contrast, colour, density. You can create a very good atmosphere in that. So the post-production in those days, the darkroom, was what I was looking for, and there wasn't really much in London. So you had to go to a lab and pay someone to do it for you. And it was like 40 quid for a print. It's just like, Jesus, that's a lot of money for someone working £9 an hour or something in a bar, and got to pay their rent and everything else. So I luckily got to volunteer in a place called Camera Work at the time on Roman Road. And they were like a charity sort of East London rental darkroom, just did black and white. So I was working with them for a bit, like going down the weekends, helping them run the darkrooms. They let me have a bit of space for free, so I could do a bit of that. And then I kind of talked them into doing colour workshops and printing. Not that I knew how to teach it, but I just talked them into it.
So you're already bringing ideas into somebody else's business.
Yeah, it wasn't hard. Then I decided, oh, maybe I should go and find someone who I can talk to about doing a business plan, because I didn't know how to do it. So Islington had workstations for people who want to do business planning. They really helped me understand putting a business plan together. Then they linked me up with the Prince's Youth Business Trust. They really helped me. And they kind of give me a grant to test market my idea.
How much was it? Do you remember?
250 quid.
Amazing. Yeah.
And my brother was working in Xerox at the time, so he could print me up some leaflets.
It's all starting to make a lot more sense now, isn't it? It's like nothing comes from nowhere. Right, keep going. Yeah.
I designed these flyers, which I'd leave somewhere with postage back to me. And I spent all the money on the second-class free postage back to my address in my digs. And I took them around, I left them lying around in photographic galleries and this and that, and wholesale shops, camera rental places. And before I knew it, I was starting to get leaflets coming back in.
Right.
And I got a couple of wallets of them together, and then I went back to the Prince's Trust, polished up the business plan, and then was able to get them to offer me, I think it was £9,000 loan. What
was the first functional space?
What it was a rental darkroom.
Okay.
Where you could go in, and I don't know if you studied photography or art in college, but
I didn't.
Primarily, why you go there is because they give you use of equipment to do the work. It's like crafts workshop in a way. It's like a potter having a potter's wheel. You need the room, you need all of this stuff all lined up.
Did your friends ever get involved? Friends, family? I mean, your brother was obviously a big part of it.
Yeah, my uncle, my mum, they all came up in the car to help out, the paint, decorate, all from Wales, you know, drive up, long weekends here and there. My brother was brilliant. He used to come over and help me. Decided to tile the whole floor because the floor was really dusty concrete and it was kicking up as people were walking and all the dust was going onto the film. So we thought, we'll tile it, got a tops tile, we'll buy some terracotta, make it look really cool. And we did all that in a long weekend.
Amazing.
So you just learn. You learn shit, you do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was chaos, but it kind of was fun. As soon as it launched, it was a very slow trickle of people coming in, and things were going wrong all the time, you know. So they're like going, oh my God, who is this? But then a couple of people who came down could see I was young and could see I was trying. So I'd be there from 8 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock at night, most days of the week.
Wow.
So I didn't get to do much else. Then something quite cool happened. The only other darkroom who was working at the time, called Photofusion, had the 6-week waiting list. They closed down to refurb, and I had a swarm of people come over to my new place.
The energy, the momentum was building.
Yeah, I mean, loads of things going wrong, but there's a bit of money coming in.
Yeah.
So you're going, all right, this is great, because I'm meeting loads of photographers, we're having a laugh, making good work. I think it was chaos, but the energy was there.
Yeah.
The goodwill was there.
Yep.
So even if things went wrong, people forgave you.
Yeah. It's a really important part, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But like so many photographers,
Yeah.
like kind of Starkey, everyone, Trish Morrissey, gardening photographers, portrait photographers, all top of their game, all doing editorials with The Guardian and, you know, all that sort of stuff in those days, because that's what photographers used to shoot film and print it and hand the prints in. Your job as a photographer was to give them darkroom prints. So people were using the darkroom a lot, and they've all been from all types of backgrounds. Art photographers, fashion photographers, portraiture, landscape, gardening, travel, the whole thing. I love that.
Have you got a particular area of interest?
Oh, I was really into like Arnold Newman's portraiture, very Walker Evans-y kind of lifestyle documents of how people live,
Yep.
housing, documentary,
Yep.
a bit more hard. But when I decided to do the business plan for Rapid Eye, I kind of put my cameras away.
Right.
And I said, this is a career move.
Yeah.
And I sold them, and I was happy. I said, right, I'm not looking out for a camera. No, I'm looking this way.
Like sort of into the belly of it.
And even when I was a kid, I knew I would be in photography working, but it wouldn't necessarily be photography. It wasn't hard for me to give up taking pictures, because as well as knowing that anyway, when I came to London and saw the industry, I was a bit disappointed.
Do you consider yourself much more of a mentor to photographers?
Well, I'd like to be called that. Well, definitely am now, actually. Yeah. With a lot of people I work with now, especially Jamie, who is an incredible photographer. You know, the people do turn out incredible work. They're still vulnerable. They still need to bounce off people. And I've worked with loads of people like that who are very fucking good and are churning out massive work, but they still need people to bounce off seriously and not just going, oh yeah, that's a nice picture. You know, I mean, like, why it's a nice picture, and I'm just honest enough not to bullshit. And if it is not good or there's something quite unsettling or wrong with it, why it's unsettling and why it's wrong, you need to be a bit more constructive in a way.
So on the Rapid Eye website, what you've said is that you've created a college-like atmosphere. Why was that actually important to you?
You know, through my college years, I never worked in a lab for a start. I did some studio assisting a little bit for a bit of cash, you know, but it wasn't serious. And all I'd really liked is learning in college and hanging around photographers.
Yeah.
And looking at pictures. So it's just kept that going, really. And you'd think that's really weird, because why would a load of people in competition hang out together? But they just do, and they love it.
So obviously this environment has established an extremely loyal and prestigious customer base and community, essentially.
Yeah.
That's what's born out of that.
Yeah.
And so what is that sort of secret sauce for harnessing community? What is
Just
that
letting
for you?
just letting it happen, really. I mean, you get the odd photographer that comes in who doesn't like the vibe, and they just don't come back. That's all.
What is it they don't like? That it's sort of
People looking at their work and talking about their work. It's like
Right.
it's a campaign. I'm just doing it now. I just stop looking at my work. Stop looking at what I'm doing. All right, you have commercial problems where you can't let people see work. There's plenty of campaigns we do through the building where it's top secret and you can't let it out until it's been published.
Yeah.
It's fair enough. But I'm talking about everything else. And it's like, well, if you're that vulnerable about your work, there's only so many controls you have. It's your eyes that are doing the work. It's not your technique. So most people are pretty confident in their own skin.
What do you think is the future of photography? So any conversations around AI in this building, or?
Well, the trend I'm finding not from all young photographers, but a lot of them are getting away from technology that are creating work. There's more and more people getting into film photography because it's more soulful.
Yeah.
Using a film camera gives you a quieter mind than digital, and a quieter mind is kind of more instinctive and creative than the mind that's fussy with buttons, too many screens, too many this, too many that, too many distractions.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're shooting a roll of film, you can have like maybe 36 if it's 35 mil, or if it's like 120, it's like 10 frames. So you've got to turn into a hunter. You've got to like slow down. You've got to really kind of make pictures than just shoot willy-nilly.
Yeah.
You know, so a lot of people are after that. People are fed up of this fast tempo consumer mass thing that digital does, I think. Yeah, well, a lot of people I've talked to here, because this is where they end up, is in an analog darkroom, because that's where you slow down. I see an expression coming out of people wanting to work with like shorter runs rather than going mass. People are getting really into like boutique-y things, and I don't really fear AI at my age. I'm 52.
Yeah.
I've been through the war with digital already. And I've seen what people are made of. I don't think they're made of zeros and ones, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right, there is a big mass market out there. There's a lot of markets to hit with photography, and some of them need AI because they just need to fulfill silly pictures, you know.
Yeah.
But the serious ones, there'll definitely be plenty of space for soulful photography.
Yeah.
Whether it's made through digital camera or analog. I think they've got to be careful with copyright on that. I mean, it's not fair really to make me a campaign by Wolfgang Tillmans or Hannah Starkey or Cedric Boucher or Stephen Gill or even a fine art photographer, you know, in that style and then be able to use it. I think that's wrong. And I think that's what might be happening.
If you sort of close your eyes and imagine both Rapid Eye and Photobook in 5 years' time, what does it look like to you?
Well, we've been to Paris to see if we could set up Photobook Cafe and Rapid Eye as one thing. So you've got the lab and the event space, gallery and bookshop and library in one building.
Yeah.
But we don't think Parisians are right for it. They're too cliquey. Or having any sort of like business and event space would be good.
Yeah.
But more so with photography because people need real spaces to interact, not just online. But, you know, we're still thinking about it. I just think it's great that analog photography is bubbling again. There's young people like me then. Those people ask us to help them, and we do a lot of help with people like, you know, starting off. Some company in Korea, there's Australian companies, there's companies in Argentina, Portugal, a couple of places in France, some handful in London, Manchester, and Glasgow. You know, and that's the way that little community is growing now. So that's really nice to be one of the older ones who's
Passing it on.
Yeah, living through this time where that craft is re-emerging from almost the ashes. So yeah, it's good.
Okay, right. Put something together for you, Lee. It's called Rapid Fire for Rapid Eyes. You ready? All you have to do is answer in the least amount of words possible.
Okay.
All right, you ready? Okay. The secret sauce for building community is...
Sharing ideas.
The most unexpected thing I've learned through running the Photobook Cafe is...
How much Prosecco I can't drink.
If I wasn't doing this, I would...
Be a gardener.
Colour or black and white photography?
Ooh, colour.
If you could pick up Rapid Eye and put it anywhere in any city in the world, where would you?
I haven't really got one. Be London. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, look. Thanks a million for sharing the story, the vision, and also the evolution of both Rapid Eye and Photobook. Without sounding like a total cheeseball, I've been a fan from the beginning, and it's been a privilege to understand the ecosystem behind
Factory in the
factory in the
clubhouse.
clubhouse.
Engineering.
Yeah, and it just makes perfect sense.
Thank you.
You know, so thanks for sharing everything that you have, and
Thank you. It means a lot.
yeah, opening up the sort of the inside of your world, really. So
Crazy, messy world. But it kind of makes sense.
it makes perfect
Yeah.
sense. It really does. Yeah. So thanks a lot. Appreciate it. If you enjoyed this episode, don't miss a single drop by subscribing and following the Creative Blood podcast. You can also head over to creativeblood.com, where you'll find even more inspiration from pioneering creative disruptors in fashion, music, film, art and entertainment. Let's get all these conversations out there and shared with fellow creatives. These episodes were crafted by the brilliant humans at Creative Blood and Scenery Studios. Thanks for listening.
I'm Lee Williams, and you have been listening to the Creative Blood podcast.